it's a good thing I've been around a long time, because you wouldn't have this next speaker if not. I went to, you know, the big TED, the $7,500 TED in Long Beach. They had a day for the organizers that was put on by the Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach combination of TEDx's, and they streamed it from Big TED. And so it was friendly there, actually. And weren't many people, maybe 20, 25 people or so. And we all introduced ourselves. And when Greg Panos introduced himself, Greg Panos? I haven't seen that man in 20 years. We go back. And I remember I was introduced to him 20 years ago as the great genius of virtual reality and computer graphics and all these things. I didn't know what those things were then. Not that I'm so good at them now, but nonetheless, it was like, oh, he was kind of like the god of technology. He is actually on the board here. So, you know, he is the god of technology, or one of them. And so I thought, oh, Greg, would you be one of my speakers? So where is he? Okay. so with great pleasure, I give you Greg Panos.
Thank you. Hi, can everybody hear me? Great. I'm Greg Panos. I have a 40-year history in computer graphics, and I've worked in the virtual reality field. I created one of the first industry compendiums on virtual reality, the Virtual Reality Sourcebook. Currently, I'm interested in augmented reality with Google Glass coming and other visor-based wearable systems with augmented information, all of us connected over the internet. That's going to be very hot. This is the direction we're all going in. So I'm developing the augmented reality sourcebook, and it's a much bigger task than it ever has been before. But my favorite sort of aspect of my own life's work is called PersonaForm. I have been researching the field of human simulation for almost as long as I've been in computer graphics. And my personal story is that I lost my father when I was 23, and I lost my only brother when I was 27. And I had some other challenges of my own, and I was in computer graphics, and I saw the way that simulation was going, and that at some point we would be able to simulate people, and we were already beginning to have the technology to digitize people in 3D. And I asked myself the question, perhaps an existential question, is why can't all of us digitize ourselves? Why can't this data be a sacred construct that we have charge and destiny over ourselves, or give to our families, or deposit in libraries that can represent us and tell our own stories in human digital storytelling machines of the future? So in '92, I produced a video, and it talks a little bit about it, and it shows examples of me being digitized. I probably have the notorious misfortune of being the most frequently digitized person on the planet over the longest period of time. I've got lots of different kinds of data that is impossible to even look at anymore because of the formats that it was in, but I've done my best to do the format conversions over the year. I could say that I celebrated my first digital birthday about 1985 when I was first digitized with a cyberware scanner, who was one of the leading 3D object acquisition companies at the time. So here we are in 2013, and there's an awful lot going on in the field now, so much so that I'm completely content to kick back and cheerlead and participate with all the researchers and all the people that are doing the work, and act more as a philosophical compass, in that I have been considering the value of this technology from a human perspective for a very long period of time. And perhaps some of the scientists think about that, sometimes they don't. I do my best to do some consciousness raising and make them think about that, make them think about their humanity, how this technology can serve their humanity. So let's go ahead and start the video, and you'll see something which is historically pretty significant.
Another glimpse of the future and how virtual reality will play a part comes from PersonaForm of Beverly Hills, California. The company is currently developing technology to archive and simulate real people. The company motto is Immortality through technology.
The whole idea of a PersonaForm is a varied database. It consists of a three-dimensional personality scan of your human form, your physical shape. Additionally, we're looking at using digitized acquisition of facial models, facial expressions, smiles, frowns, winks, various movements of the lips and cheeks, and things like that. We're looking at body-based motion acquisition, the way you sit, the way you bend, the way you jump, various exercises and aerobic routines we're going to record using body-based tracking technology. We're also interested in doing speech acquisition, having somebody read from a fixed template of word segments and use that to create a dynamic, multiple, real-time, re-indexable speech profile that can get the model to speak, the lips to move in synchrony during a simulation later on.
PersonaForm is something that an individual would elect to create and to update throughout a lifetime. The first time they have it done is called their digital birthday. When you go into a salon, which is essentially a scanning center, a personality acquisition center, and celebrate your first digital birthday, you're essentially frozen in time at whatever age you go in there. And if you have this done every 6 months or every year until the day you die, your PersonaForm can be accessed through this database or lifeline or data line, have you, forever and ever. You can be accessed and simulated at any age, depending on how often you've had it updated. Creating a digital version of you that you hand off or pass on or put in the public domain when you move on to the next world, if there is a next world.
So insurance, immortality insurance through 3D data acquisition. There's some slides that are also there. This is me with a 3D interactive version of myself on my laptop. This is my early artwork where I incorporated my 3D facial data inside of a 3D rendering just to figure out what to do with it in an artistic way. This was a study I did for a plastic surgeon showing how 3D data acquisition can be used for patient pre-planning and how they can use this to pre-visualize what will happen during elective plastic surgery and augmentation and things like that, which are very popular today. So this is a facial motion capture system which is used to digitize facial expressions. This is an idea for a 3D display system that could have a human face in it. This is a 3D model of a person that has been created with a 3D printer. This is the state-of-the-art scanning system that Institute for Creative Technologies at University of Southern California has here in Southern California. Some of the best work is being done there by Paul Dubovik and his team at USC. And this is from Fringe. It's a recent television show showing a hologram or another avatar. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that we really owe a lot to our cultural heritage from science fiction. As far back as, I guess the year I was born, I Sing the Body Electric was produced by it was a television show, and for what's his name? Rod Serling, right, yeah. And there was a company that they walked into to create and assemble their own digital grandmother, and you could see on the door it said Facsimile Limited. And also in Logan's Run, they had a facility where you went into and you pre-visualized yourself, and that facility was called the New You, and they could reconstruct your face and everything else using all kinds of laser-based surgery equipment and virtual persona technology. A movie called Looker, developed by Michael Crichton and directed by him. Also back in the 70s, there was a company called Digital Matrix where they digitized the fashion models. Of course, that turned into an intrigue story, and they killed them all afterwards. Once they had their data, why did they need them, right? And recently, from the Time Machine, the library Avatar was a good example of that. And one of my favorite movies is Simone. And Simone was a terrific picture. Victor Turansky had a great line from that movie. He basically said, our ability to manufacture fraud has exceeded our ability to detect it. So if it's a terrific Andrew Niccol film, I recommend everybody see it. It's a real riot. And of course, a really great example, before I mention that, in Forbidden Planet, they had a crawl teaching machine that had an avatar of the beautiful woman in there. And then Benjamin Button is a really, really great example of human simulation technology as applied for motion pictures, and how motion pictures have really been the driving force in the technology evolution for this technology. Paycheck and Minority Report also have avatar-based examples. Very often I give talks that are hours long, and I show sequences from all of those, and people get a historical education. So I'm one of the few historians in the human simulation field, really. And originally, PersonaForm was supposed to be a scanning salon for celebrities in Beverly Hills where they could archive their data, and then they could reapply the data in motion pictures long after their useful life, or they've gotten very old, and they could have cameos. We haven't gotten to that point yet. If celebrities are digitized for science fiction or films or stunts in films, the data technically belongs to them, but they're not presented with the data. So I'm all for the democratization of the data, where people can digitize themselves. They can do it for inexpensively. The data is their property. They have dominion over it. They can store it. They can give it to other people. They can continue to add to it. And the whole idea of PersonaForm is it's an organic, evolutionary construct that you add to, and you use better and better technology throughout the life that you're living, and you leave it together. And it all is one piece of something very, very sacred that represents you.
How would these digitally created actors get their residuals?
Oh, how do actors get residuals from that? Well, I heard that Brad Pitt had some kind of rider in his contract that basically said that they couldn't use that data in anything else. I don't think they actually packaged the data and gave him the format and presented it to him on a hard drive. But every time I've digitized myself, I've always made sure that they gave me a copy of the data, and that I very, very carefully documented what it was and what the format was, and I put it away for safekeeping. So I can dial back the age control on a simulator to when I was in my 20s at this point. So thank you very much.